What's up guys, Anfield here, and welcome to the first of the replay reviews that I said I was going to do a little while ago in a previous video. Now, before I get into the actual replay itself, I just want to say thank you to Creeps who sent in this replay. It was actually one of the few replays that was actually what I was specifically looking for. Most of you sent in replays that were basically top damage games where you got 6,000 to 8,000 damage, or you were in a turret and got 4,000 damage or something along those lines. I thought I was clear enough, but maybe I wasn't, and maybe that's my bad. But I am looking for more mediocre battles and that sort of thing, so hopefully if you have any of those replays, still feel free to send them to me. If it happens again where I have basically only really good damage games and people are sending their best games in, then it leaves us sort of with a choice, and I want to know what you guys think about that. Should I just do a replay review on these battles that are really good? There's still going to be mistakes. There are mistakes in every battle. My own best replays have mistakes, and you can't play a perfect game usually. So maybe there's something to learn. I don't think there'll be as much to learn as there will be from, the more mediocre battles. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. But regardless, let's get into this replay. So Creeps has sent me a replay of him playing the T37. Now, light tank's perhaps not my best expertise here, but maybe I'll be able to help a little bit, specifically because in this battle, it's a tier 8 battle, which means the T37 can actually be relatively effective in a game like this. So it's not exactly the worst situation for him. He can, of course, do some spotting, so we'll see what he's going to do. He says he's going to take the left side, and that's actually an interesting decision. I do think on this map that there's a lot more spotting that can be done on the right side in the forest area. You can go up to that little area on, I think it's the E line. There's a little separating ridge there, and you can spot all of their tanks heading over into the forest. And also, you generally have a better force of tanks ready to shoot that. Whereas the issue with the 1-2 line is whatever you might spot, it's going to be difficult to have tanks in any kind of position, specifically because there's no artillery that can actually punish any of those tanks that you spot. So it's an interesting decision. Also, I would point out that at this point, most of his team is going over into the forest. So I would have already turned around, I think. Well, I mean, I would have probably gone forest initially, but at this point, I think you kind of have to turn around. You're not really going to spot much, I don't think, from this area, or at least have tanks ready to fire. So it's gonna, I don't know, we'll have to see what the enemy team does. Either way, though, I'm not sure exactly. Maybe the E25 can shoot some things. I'm not sure what line of sight he would have. Ooh, he has a shot on this guy. Let's see if he can line a shot up. He had the outline show up for like half a second there. Maybe he needs to move the camera a little bit to the left. I'm not sure. Either way, so far not too much for him to do. He's trying to get some shots on this T37. But I think this is being static for too long. I think you kind of have to, at this point, notice that there's not a lot of pressure from the enemy team over here. And it's going to be slow. And the T37 isn't going to really deal with tanks frontally. And I think he should be firing at the super Pershing at this point. Fire him back down. He's fast enough. There's no way he would get lit in time for him to... He could have shot the side of the turret. So the thing is, he's trying to get a lot of passive spotting, which is fine. Only, again, like I said, I don't think there's enough tanks here to actually punish these tanks. But that is really, really unfortunate on his part, though. It definitely should be a kill up. I'll also point out that he has a manual extinguisher, and Creeps, I think in future you should definitely use an automatic fire extinguisher. The reason for that is an automatic fire extinguisher not only, because a lot of people say, oh, manual extinguisher, you can just quickly even make a macro or press spacebar real quick or whatever. But it doesn't give you that passive chance to not be set on fire in the first place. And people say, oh, well, it's expensive. But you get a ton of them for free, and because you're using them less, you actually end up making money because Wargaming gives you tons of them for free. You get set on fire less in general. It saves you money on damage. It's definitely something worth having on any tank regardless. So anyway, he's moving up here and he's going to see if he can get some damage on these guys, which is fine. He's see, this is where a T37 really thrives in a battle where it doesn't have really much spotting itself to do. In a tier 10 battle, something, very different beast in the tier 8 battle. He's going to really struggle to pen this IS-3 with AP. He has switched to APCR, so he is going to be able to pen this IS-3. But yeah, in a tier 10 battle, pretty much almost all you can do is spotting, but in a tier 8 battle you can still pen a lot of these tanks. At this point I would be going the long way around. I think the cap should be okay for a little while, and I think he should be able to go around the A line. There's lots of hills and bushes back there, so I think in future, you know, in this kind of area, you can employ a sort of flank that will help you a lot better. But either way, what I was saying about Terry is, you know, if you have a big force that's pushing, it's great for a light tank because the enemy is completely being overwhelmed and distracted, and you just get in there and use your really good DPM, and you know, really punish some people. So he is actually going over in this general area now. Line. He's doing a lot of firing on the move. I think that maybe should have been auto-aimed. There you go. Now he's auto-aiming as well. He is lit though, so he does need to get into the little dips that this little area provides. So he is he going to go for that? There's a big dip in front of him. Oh, he's going to stop. Yeah, there you go. There's the auto-aim. If you're going to drive on the move and fire, you should definitely auto-aim. Unfortunately, it's not going so well for him. See, at this point, you've got so many bushes that you moving around is defeating some of your camo value. So you may get lit, which could be... See, yeah, the moving around too much is not helping there. There is a big bush there. Sorry for that little bit of lag. There is a big bush there that he could have used to just basically sit behind and fire and not be lit. But the moving obviously defeats some of that camo value. So he's going to go for this ISU, I think it is. And... hopefully get some damage. So that little immediately immediately driving backwards there is fine. The only problem is that's really only useful for a situation where the tank is ready to fire back at you. If the tank is backing up and especially when it's an ISU and obviously there's no turret there, so it can't just aim while it's moving backwards at you so easily, you could just sit there and make sure your shots are ready for some aiming. You should get a lot of damage. Oh, that's unfortunate. Go for the tracks and road wheel. Oh, well, it's actually okay because his bloom is quite large, so yeah. So a little bit of extra damage there on the ISU, and that wraps up Creeps' battle in the T37 on Muravanka. Let's take a look at a few of the key points in this battle. So the first thing that I pointed out when watching Creeps' replay was that he said that he was going to go to the left side. Now, as a scout tank, telling your team where you're going to go is a very good thing. It lets them set up properly. You know, hopefully they get to take advantage. Not all teams are, you know, going to take advantage of you saying something, but at least it gives them the opportunity and it gives them a better chance to know, oh, that guy's going to go there. I'm going to set up for shots. So, for example, let's say you're on Lakeville. And as a light tank, you say you're going to go up the middle road to do some spotting. So then tanks know that they're going to see some enemy tanks hopefully crossing into the city to fire at. Or if you're going to go to the sort of city area to spot the middle road, people will know that they'll get some shots on the middle road so they can set up for it. So it's very good. However, in this situation, I just don't think the left side is a great spotting area. I think the right side and the forest area provides you a lot of spotting. Also, this was an encounter battle, so most people will generally go over to the forest area first to fight before going over to the cap. Typically, you don't see the cap rushed as much, but sometimes it is. So, you know, initially, in this case, I probably would have gone and done some actual spotting on the forest because I just think it's a little bit better, especially with that little hump over there that you can spot them going into the forest. So the next point I made was about how his team is mostly going over to the forest area, and at that point you're not really going to get many spotting assisted damage while you're on the 1-2 line in the left side here because your team just isn't there. You know, you don't have artillery, you don't really have any good shot lanes anyway, even if you do have tanks over here. So I would consider turning around at this point, you know, going over into the forest area, or well, just short of the forest area, and actually spotting that little mid-road ridge. You get lots of assisted damage and you can poke the enemy tanks. Also, because you're in a tier 8 game, but the light tank is very good here at doing damage and being a pest to these guys, you know, when you have a lot of lot of your team in one area, you can actually be really effective just by being an annoyance. You know, there'll be tons of distracted tanks. You can come in, poke quick shots, and get down really fast with your depression, and they won't even be able to retaliate. So at this point, I would have definitely gone around into the forest area. So here we have the Super Pershing, which is distracted. You could get a quick side turret shot, and also the SU-152 as well. These are tanks that, you know, probably weren't going to be able to hit you. You can quickly get your, you know, you got a bush, so let's assume that they can see you anyway. you can get down these hills really fast. You've got really good depression. Just come up and take a snap. I think the damage was really worth it, especially because it didn't seem very likely you were going to get any real assisted. If there was artillery, maybe, but as regards to the tanks you had in this flank, I don't think there was much assisted via spotting that you could have gotten from these guys, so taking the shots may have been better. So at this point in the battle, the enemy team has sort of put a lot of pressure on the 1-2 line, forcing Creeps back here a bit. But you'll also notice how well his team is doing in the forest. Now, as a light tank, you're really fast and you can flex around a lot. And there's a lot of damage to be made here on the forest area. Still, when your team is pushing like that, your light is going to do so well just going around distracted tanks, farming damage. And, if you delay an extra 30 seconds, that's a lot of damage you end up losing out. And these are very fine margins that we're talking about. You can win yourself extra damage just by, situational awareness, noticing these kind of things. Where is the damage and where can you go to get it? So as a light tank, in this case, flexing around. If you're in a heavy tank, sure, fight this flank because you have the armor and the firepower to do it. You can fight these tanks frontally. But as a light tank, you look for tanks that are distracted. And so a good push by your team is a really good opportunity for you to go in and get some damage. So this is the closing stages of the battle. And this is just a quick point. Really, it's all that you moved around a lot when firing at this T-54 Mod 1, when I didn't really think it was that necessary. There was, if you wanted to be super safe from any other tanks, such as the ISU, there was a big hill in front of you. But also, there was a bush that you sort of drove past, a really big one that could have separated you and the Mod 1. You moved around a lot, which meant that not only did you miss shots, but also you got lit. And I think you probably would have been unlit, especially because you have a camo net anyway, while firing on this T-54 Mod 1. And when you're stationary, obviously you're more accurate. So just a quick point about that. So a big thank you to Creep for sending this replay. I really, really appreciate it. It was exactly what I was looking for, and I hope that you guys give him a lot of love in the chat because he definitely deserves it. And let me know in the comments, guys, what you thought about the format. This is a new sort of thing for me, so I'm not entirely sure how it's going to work and what I can improve on. So please do let me know what you may like to see in the future, and I will try to do that. And also let me know, what you kind of think about doing better replays. I mean, I would prefer to have done more replays like Creeps here, but unfortunately, obviously most of you didn't really send me those types of replays. So what do you guys think? Do you think I should just sort of try and get more replays like this, or, just use the wealth of abundance of replays I have? Let me know what you think, and hopefully I'll catch you guys on the next video.